What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, resident supervillain Mr. J. Washington, and I'm here with my review for Tigers Are Not Afraid. Now, if you have not seen this movie yet, please come on back because there will be spoilers. First and foremost, let me let you know this movie is dope as shit. I want to thank Perry Nimrov, one of my co-hosts on Collider Movie Talk, for recommending me this joint. This is amazing. Now, you can only catch this movie on Shudder. It's the horror streaming service. So first and foremost, you have to do that. If you don't have Shudder, go ahead and get your free trial real quick. Go check it out. Promise you will enjoy it. Director Issa Lopez put together an amazing film that combines the horrors of the Mexican cartel with the fantasy horror suspense element. It's about a group of orphans whose parents have been killed off by the cartel. They band together. And one little girl, Estrella, played by Paola Lara, who is phenomenal in this movie, she gets 3 wishes. Now, anytime you ever hear somebody's granted 3 wishes, you should already know in most movies, horror or otherwise, when they have horror primarily, when they have a wish, there are always repercussions to the wish. It never goes the way it should, right? This is how she gets her wishes. So she's in her class in school, and her and her classmates and teachers are talking about fairy tale stories and whatnot. They're talking about princes and princesses and dragons and magical tigers and telling the story of how tigers are protectors and, things like that. And a shootout happens outside the school, or whether it's inside the school, we don't know, but the bullets sound really close. So during that whole struggle, the kids are all on the ground with the teacher and everything. And the teacher, she comes over to Estrella, who is telling her story, and gives her 3 pieces of chalk. And tells her these pieces of chalk are 3 wishes. Now, normally you think it's just to calm her down, right? Because, of course, this is a traumatic, trying experience. Kids are hearing a gunfight. And so you need to calm them down somehow, some way. So cool. Well, later on, she goes home. She's trying to see if her mother's come back, because her mother's been missing for a while, we find out. At one point, she makes a wish and says, I wish my mother came back. All of a sudden, this blood ooze is following her and ghosts in the crib and shit. Doors are opening. She looking around like the hell happened. Again, me, I don't fucks with the supernatural, okay? I don't rock with them like that. I don't deal with that. What happens is, doors start opening, there ain't no wind blowing. I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all want this place. Y'all gonna be on the lease in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Gonna pay the rent too, because it's due. Because I feel like I shouldn't have to pay the rent if you gonna haunt the joint. You know what I'm saying? So, after getting chased out, basically, by the ghost, she's scared. She's spooked out of her mind. She goes and she aligns herself with these orphans. The leader of the orphan, El Shina, played by Juan Ramon Lopez, who is also incredible. He doesn't want her in the group. He talks about how girls bring bad luck. This is a boys' club. It's a little boys' club. And, things like Little Rascals. Some of girls bring bad luck and whatnot. But eventually, they learn to come to be together. Also, at one point, we found out that El Shine, he steals a cartel member's phone and gun while he's pissy drunk in the alley. Now, he takes the gun and at one point has the gun pointed at the back of dude's head. And it literally seems like he's about to pull his trigger and pop dude off, but he doesn't. He fades back into the shadows. Let's go forward. Basically, the cartel members find out where the kids are living. They have to scatter from their homes. And they're going. And at one point, Shine tells the girl, Estrella, well, if you want to stay with us, you got to kill Cacao. You got to kill this cartel member. And she like, I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And he like, no, that's what you got to do. And so she goes in his house while he's asleep. And she has a gun. And she's about to blow it. Like, Shine gave her the gun that he stole earlier. She's about to blow the back of dude's brains out. And then she says, I wish I didn't have to kill him. All of a sudden, dude laid on the ground. Head shit exploded. Everything. And all of a sudden, you hear the gun release the trigger and shoot. She didn't have to kill him. The ghost, the entity, or whatever it is, did. And the whole time, the ghosts are like, basically, it's her mother. First and foremost, it's her mother. Like, bring him to us. He's going to comfort you. And she's like, who will comfort? The one who did, the one who did this to me. And like, yo, she don't know what's going on. So basically, they're moving around. The kids trying to find their own spot. Push come to shove, the kids end up in an abandoned, I believe it's hotel. Or it's a hotel or something. And they're there. And then the gang members find out where they are. And so they make a deal to trade this phone back because the phone actually has very incriminating evidence on it for this one dude named Chino. Like, Chino can go to hell of jail for hell of time, to hell of jail For the hell of the time, I said that. I do not believe I just said that. But he can go to jail for what's on the video. It's very incriminating. And so the kids, long story said, try to make a deal about it. And one of the little kids is shot and murdered. And he's murdered in a way that when it happens, you're like, oh, fuck, they did it. Like, the brutality you see there is, again, a harsh reality of things that have happened. There are true stories known about how many children have been killed, have been victims of the violence with the cartel and stuff that goes on in Mexico. So, again, like I said, director Issa Lopez, she interweaves these things together. The craziest part is, like, Sean has a burn on his face when the cartel burned his house and killed his parents. And he was like, he kept telling Australia, can you use one of your wishes to make my burn go away? And she was like, earlier she was like, nah, I'm not going to do that because when I do it, bad stuff happens. Fast forward later, she finally says it. She says, I wish the scar will go away. And uses the scar and uses the chalk to make an X on his face. So you think the scar go away. All of a sudden, nothing happens. Then a hot second later, his shit explodes out. He is shot in the face. I was like, oh, this is what we doing. And it was surreal to see that. At the end of the day, she ended up finding the bodies where all of the victims had been, including her mother. And the one magical thing was her mother had, they show a flashback earlier, her mother had a bird, dragon-like bracelet. So imagine my Kamoya bead bracelet, but it's all like birds, black birds. And Australia asked her mother, can I have your bracelet? And she told her, when you get older or when the time is right. She sees her mother's corpse that is still wearing the bracelet, and the bracelet comes off, the birds come off and wrap around her, sort of like a symbiote. So I was hoping at that moment, I was like, yeah, I know this is a horror movie, but like, yo, what would happen if she became like a suit like Venom and her own monster and shit? And I was like, yo, Jay, you gotta stop watching so many superhero movies. But I was like, that's what they pay me for to do. But nonetheless, overall, this movie is great. This movie has a lot of emotion. It grips you from beginning to end. You feel for the children. You feel for the family. And I said this on Collider Movie Talk. The kids remind you sort of the Losers Club from It. They have that feel, if you want something to liken it to compare it to. It's like the Losers Club from It. But it definitely gets you. It definitely pulls your heartstrings. You have those oh shit moments. You have those moments where you're like, this is not happening. You jump and you cry and you get upset. This is a great film. I highly recommend you go check it out on Shudder. It's not just horror. It's suspense. It's action. It's thriller. It's all that in one. You will definitely love it. On a scale of 1 to 5, I had to give it a rating. I will give it 5 stars. 5 stars. I definitely love this. This movie I rock with this movie so heavy. This movie is so dope. Definitely go check it out. But if you've seen it, I want to know what your thoughts are. If you have not seen it, I still want to know what your thoughts are about all what I just told you in the comments below, all right? So like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell. Are you going to check this out? Have you checked it out already? Are you willing to go ahead and say, let me use this email address I got. Go and get this young free trial and check this movie out Jaden just told me about. That's what I want to know from you, all right? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. Make sure you join the Supervillain Squad on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. And check out the Mad Titan podcast, where I get you caught up on everything happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. Make sure you check out some of the other videos here on the channel. I'll holler at y'all later. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.